welcome to the 4th Stress Management Workshop for Leeds Beckett University. I really appreciate you attending today. If you are listening right now, a big hello to you. And if you're watching the recording later on down the line, then brilliant. Thank you ever so much for your time there as well. Just a few things. I'm going to just do a few checks just to make sure that you can hear me okay. If you have a question at all, that's brilliant. We're probably going to save the Q&A towards the end. But if you have a question right now, maybe you're struggling to hear me or you just need something to be addressed, and just give me a shout right now and then maybe I can attend to your questions. But for now, I think everyone is okay, and I'm just going to mute everyone. So 3, 2, 1, mute all. Lovely. If you do have a question, feel free to, again, ask at the end, or you can just drop one in the chat. And if you actually scroll down and leave your cursor at the bottom, the menu will come up and you can actually post your question there should you have one. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to suggest that you grab a pen and paper. And as always, grab a cup of tea or coffee, whatever your tipple is. We're going to be here, hopefully, for about half an hour. We might be a little bit less than that, depending on how we run through things today. But we're here between 5:30 and 6 o'clock today. So I'm just going to go back through the previous weeks. There are some people who are joining for the very first time, which is great. Now, these are stress management workshops with a very practical element in mind. So week number 1 was the Are You Stressed assessment, where we went through a 25-part questionnaire. And if you are, again, brand new to these workshops for Leeds Beckett University and you're really quite concerned about your stress, with every reason to be as well, because a lot of us are dealing with things for the first time and experiencing stress, and I would actually suggest that you go back to week number 1, Are You Stressed? And you could have fallen in one of 3 sort of categories, 3 sort of groups in terms of your stress levels. So anything under 4 points, I would certainly suggest that you're fine, absolutely okay with everything. I wouldn't suggest you need to implement any change in your life. But if you were to maybe move on to bracket 5 and 13, that tells yourself and also me that you would probably need to start looking into your stress in your life. And again, week number 1 presents quite a few tips and pointers, and especially things that you can do via Leeds Beckett University's fitness schedule that we have online in order to bring those stress levels down. And anything 14 points plus, again, I don't want to alarm you, but if you end up falling in that type bracket when it comes to your stress levels, then definitely the time is now to make some change into your life. And again, feel free to ping back to that video if you've got any questions, and you can always contact me via Facebook. And yeah, it's good to maybe address your stress. Week number 2 was analysing your here and now. So again, it was another great tool that we went through. And for those who have been through some sort of form of coaching, or you really do like self-development, then actually we refer to the Wheel of Life, and it's a really great tool, but I put a personal sort of spin onto that particular practical tool, and I used it for where we were before the COVID crisis and where we are now. And then actually we could have used that tool for the future as well. So if you weren't too keen on certain areas of your life before the crisis hit, then you would have become aware of that. You could actually start making changes in the here and now. That tool does give you a good idea as to what areas that you could work on. I did suggest that you could maybe start working your 3 least scoring areas when it came to your Wheel of Life. We actually went through 12 areas. Usually the Wheel of Life as a tool comes with 8 normal categories, so anything from finances, love and romance, your career, personal growth. But I'll go through this in a few minutes' time, but I actually added on the 4 natural resources. That's cardio, strength, balance, and good nutrition. So out of all those 12 areas that we discussed in week number 2, you could actually see where your least performing areas are. And that is definitely a good pointer as to where you could start if you wanted to start making change into your life. Because however hard it is right now, and however amazing, or if not difficult, your life was before the crisis, you don't have to go into the same life after the crisis is over. You have the power to change should you want to. And it is times like this when we're forced to slow down and start to think and reflect and start, looking at ourselves and, feeling what we feel within, that you've got the power to make those changes. So that was a really powerful workshop, week number 2. Week number 3, so that was last week, was how to get into flow state. Now, I basically discussed the 4 states that you can find yourself in, like mental states, in a very sort of general type sense. I didn't want it to be too sort of scientific. I'm obviously not a scientist at all. However, it was just to give you a rough idea as to how to group a certain state you might feel in. And there were 4 states. So, for example, there was the flow state, which everyone would love to be on a permanent basis, but that's very hard to achieve on most days, really, because everything needs to be, working well in order to feel that flow state. And I actually described it as, in a flow state, you're happy in the now and you're also happy in the future. And we also went through the other states of like stress and anxiety, and also the negative spiral. That was definitely a state that I've been in, that I spoke about as well in that particular workshop. So that's more about depression. I'm not saying that you're there right now, and not many people overall go through depression in their lives, but actually 1 in 4 before the crisis hit would actually experience a state of depression once or twice in their life. So talking from experience, I've been there before, but you might be maybe slowly drifting into a mindset, a state like that right now. Who knows? I really obviously don't know your situation, but I do know that everyone is going through a very tough time collectively, or the majority are. And it was just good to categorise maybe what state you're feeling in. And if you were to maybe be in a state that you didn't, particularly want to be in, then obviously we talked about ways of how you could actually move states and transform your state and make change in your life there. So that's week number 3. And this week is number 4. I can't believe we've been doing this for 4 weeks now. And there's a lot for us to talk about today. And it's practicing gratitude. And you can actually find the previous weeks, all the videos, on the Leeds Beckett University's website. You can also find them now on YouTube, which is great. They're actually releasing all the videos there. Find them on Facebook, and you can actually have access to all these videos. And what I'll do, I'll actually put the links to these videos on the recorded version. But if you just want to maybe jot them down now, I'll just go through them all with you. Week number 1, the Are You Stressed assessment. You can actually find that via bit.ly/Are You Stressed Beckett. So I'll just spell that for you. So it's bit.ly for Lee /Are You Stressed Beckett. That was week number 1. Week number 2, analysing your here and now. So that link is bit.ly, so bit.ly /analyse your here and now Beckett. Week number 3, titled Your 4 Mental States, and that link, if you want to go to that video right now, is bit.ly, or after this workshop, /work out your current mental state Beckett. And again, all these workshops are very practical with practical tools you can go away and implement into your life and just figure things out to where you might feel right now. So practicing gratitude. Again, if you have been on the Facebook page, Leeds Beckett University, or you actually are connected with the awesome instructors of Beckett University, we've been posting this week little flyers on gratitude. And we all know that gratitude is important and it's a good thing to do, but we're not very good, the majority anyway, of practicing gratitude. And that is the key word. It's a practice. It certainly isn't anything, in my experience anyway, that I was encouraged to do when I was growing up. Had a great childhood, but something my parents never relayed on to me, nothing that I came across at school. So it's since I've got older and actually experienced bad times with stress myself that I'm really starting to understand the power of gratitude. And psychologists have actually scientifically proven that people who practice gratitude lead happier lives. So there's so many reasons to practice gratitude on so many levels. And it can just really just start with small things, because sometimes when stress takes over, you just miss the small things that you can actually still be grateful for. So even if you're feeling quite stuck right now, and you know, which we all are, or you just feel you've got no control, there's definitely things around you that you can certainly cling on to and go, yeah, I'm very grateful for. So we're going to be talking about that today. So what's in it for you, so you can get the most out of this workshop today? It's if you're feeling stuck, demotivated, you are unusually feeling down, or you don't know how to handle your stress, or you don't even know if you are stressed, I just want you to have this as a very you know, positive place to find out where you are, what you can do in order to make change in your life. It's good to start reflecting on things, I think, especially if you've got a lot of time on your hands. And again, as mentioned, you don't have to go into the same life once we've been given the green light. You know, once we're released in the world again, as it were, you can actually make change. And this could be like the time to start preparing for your brand new life. You can, become reborn even, you know, so it's a good time. There's so many positives that we can take from this, so all good there. I mean, fear can manifest, especially in a situation like this. So there are lots of people right now who are experiencing the panic and the fear, and especially, I mean, I'm in a habit of doing it just because I like to keep myself informed. There are people around me right now who say, well, don't watch the news, but you need to get your information from somewhere. And I actually listen to the daily briefing that the government announces every day, just to keep myself up to date with everything. And, you know, you can go to the briefing with some sort of hope, and sometimes, I know I felt it, you can walk away feeling quite deflated because they're not really, as we all know, giving us any exit strategy. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. We're just still in this limbo, and that's really hard to deal with, the whole uncertainty of the whole situation. So feelings can come up. You could be feeling quite doubtful, worried, confused about yourself, about your family, about your future, about your finances. You're experiencing sleepless nights maybe for the first time in your life. You're starting to feel anxious and out of breath, you know, signs that you could be experiencing anxiety for the first time. So this particular workshop and the other workshops is definitely for you if you're feeling anything like that at all. So, and again, any Q&As can be at the end. And for those who don't know me, my name's Jen, hi, and I do spin at Leeds Beckett University at 5:15 till 6 o'clock every Monday and Thursday. And spin for me is just I call it my legal high. I cannot get enough of spin, and obviously I'm feeling quite stuck because I can't spin right now, hence why I'm doing these workshops for Leeds Beckett University. But I am getting out and running. Not quite my favourite form of exercise, but you've got to do what you've got to do. And also I've tried to join on as much as I can the online classes that the other instructors are doing at Leeds Beckett. But with a little 4-year-old right now, who is now full-time at home, he's not at school, I'm obviously becoming a full-time teacher. I wouldn't like to say I was a full-time teacher, but I'm trying my best. So yeah, there's a lot going on my side, but what maybe gives me some form of, or some, you know, partial qualifications to be talking to you about stress. Well, before I came back to England, I actually was an expat in Shanghai, China for 7 years, and I set up and run at the time 2 indoor cycling studios, and they were absolutely fantastic. And on paper, just to cut a long story short here, on paper they were amazing. You know, we made loads of money. We had a great reputation. It was just, I would definitely consider it one of my heydays, one of my great eras of my life. But unfortunately, behind the scenes, I was getting extremely stressed, and because I just didn't know how to look after myself. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs in particular run into this similar type of experience where it's an actual mental state, as talked about last week. It's stress and anxiety where they're not happy in the now because they're always so fast paced with everything that they do that they're not actually concentrating on the here and now, because they're always looking forward. They've always got a project to work on. They've always got something they want to achieve, and they're always, you know, the high achievers, and they're looking for perfection even though that doesn't exist. It's just a concept. And I really had to learn to slow down. But basically at my height of my stress and my struggles with stress, it actually led to my depression, unfortunately. And it was about a cycle of 4 years on and off where I was just up and down, where basically I was working to, you know, launch the businesses and, you know, to do the charity events, to look after my customers, to spin and cover all the classes that the instructors couldn't do. And I loved what I did, don't get me wrong. I absolutely, you know, really loved it and enjoyed what I did. But I just didn't take any time for myself because I gave so much of me out to everyone and everything else. And after years of just doing this, of like basically burning out, and it was the real medical term of burning out, where I would be in bed, my body would be like, well, Jen, you've ignored all the stress signals that I've been giving you. You've ignored your debilitating headaches. You've ignored your loss of appetite. You're working until 2 in the morning, and we've got to stop that. And your body it's on your side if you listen to your body. And I was just not listening, and I was just working, and tiredness became my new normal, and then feeling exhausted became my new normal. And then you can only run on nothing for so long. And unfortunately at the time, the specialists that I had access to, you know, being insured out there medically, that they couldn't actually get to the bottom of my burnout. They didn't actually know it was burnout. And that overall led to my depression. And I got myself out of depression through natural resources that I'll talk to you about in a couple of minutes. But yeah, I didn't use any tablets. And I'm just saying, obviously I'm a very extreme case, and I was saying that you're stressed out and you're in bed for days and, you know, you're depressed. But I don't know your situation, but I just want to provide light. There is light at the end of the tunnel. So if you are feeling the stress, and let's say you do go back to week number 1 and you do score a high 23 out of 25, which is what I did when I first filled out that assessment, then please do not worry, because I've certainly been there and there's definitely a way out. So, but that's enough about me. Again, disclaimer, I'm not coming up as a health professional or anything like that, but I just do hope that hopefully with my past, my experience with stress, I can help you should you feel under the pressure right now with everything that's going on. So just to touch up of like what stress actually is. So if we were to think of ourselves as neuroscientists, the amygdala in the brain is the fear response mechanism. And when we're stressed, it sends electrical and signals basically to the motor cortex, which is usually your ability to take action. So when we're stressed, we either freeze, fight, or, you know, run off. And that's a very normal, natural reaction to stress. However, what people tend to not realise is that we can get addicted to those chemicals that are released in the brain when we're stressed. So hands up, we've all done it, I'm sure we have, where we're watching the news constantly, where especially at the beginning of when the crisis first broke out, and we can get quite drawn to the negativity that this situation does present. And it's then that you need to sort of, you know, have like an intervention in place, but become aware of where you are and how you feel in that moment to stop that in its tracks, because you can, as mentioned, get quite addicted to the stress, the adrenaline. So the interventions, and especially what Leeds Beckett University caters very well for, the interventions which help me get out of my darkest days with stress, burnout and depression, 4 natural resources. So it's cardio, strength, balance and good nutrition. So cardio, instant physical stress release. Everyone gravitates to what they're good to, what they absolutely love, and Leeds Beckett University does everything apart from spin, obviously at the moment. But if you love your Zumba, you can do body pump. There's like club dance classics. Like if you are feeling stress and you've got high stress levels, definitely incorporate the cardio in your life. The second resource is strength. Now I just find that life is just so much easier when you are strong in your body. And strength can play such an important part when you're, for the smallest things in life, when you're picking up your shopping, when you're picking up your kids, when you're lifting up things around the house, when you're working for hours on end on that computer. If you are just strong in your body, again, that's what strength-based classes and exercises can do. Your life will just feel so much easier because you don't want to be dealing with aches and pains. So again, Leeds Beckett University caters very well for this through yoga, HIIT and abs classes. They do express Pilates and belly fit. So if you haven't done too much strength work of late, then you can definitely look into that. Now, the third resource to really intervene with the stress levels is balance. My firm favourite, just because balance for me is my secret of getting out of stress and depression, anxiety, and all those negative types of experiences that you can go through. Because again, I've been using this every week, and we've heard it or seen it or read it online, but if you can't go outside, go inside. And that is such a powerful quote. It really did stick with me when I read that a few weeks ago. So, and I can relate to that. So when I was, without realising, because I didn't get seen in China with the right medical professionals, I didn't know I was going through depression. But I found YouTube, and YouTube then guided me to meditations, and I didn't even know what really meditation was, but for some reason I must have been, I don't remember the date exactly, but must have been punching in, why do I feel low, or why do I feel not myself, or whatever I punched in, and then one thing led to another, and then I fell into personal development and meditation. So balance for me is a resource that anyone can have access to, and it's basically looking after yourself. You are number one. There's no one else that can look after you as well as you, and if you're not well, then no one else around you can benefit from your wellness. So I see that in my business. So I'm a business owner as well as a spin instructor. So a business I see, and what I tell my clients anyway, is like a reflection of themselves. And you could probably see that in your relationships as well. If you are happy, you tend to find that you are in a happy relationship. Again, a general rule. I'm not saying this applies to every situation, but if you're not well in yourself, you tend to realise that your surrounding relationships aren't too great either. So everything's like a mirror of how you feel inside. So again, balance is just a resource for me that is just key to optimum health, to get you from whatever state you might be in, whether it's a negative one, to a really, really positive flow state, optimum health. So you can do that, as mentioned, through meditations, relaxation. Leeds Beckett University does body balance and other classes like that. So go check them out if you are wanting some inspiration when it comes to balance. And the fourth resource is good nutrition to implement into your life. So good nutrition, it goes without saying, we all know what to do, but when the stress hits, your motivation does go down. So too does your food choices in terms of what you should be eating. So I always suggest eat rainbow coloured food, change your diet. Let's say you're meat eating right now, and you can change it to a week of eating vegetarian. Or you can go to a vegan diet. I mean, for me, because I was so extreme, I really wanted to get out of my state a few years back. I just went a 6 month of a complete change in diet, where I did 3 months of vegetarian and 3 months of vegan. And wow, overnight I changed. And 6 months, I mean, my skin looked better. I felt better from within. The energy was just amazing. So yeah, if you're feeling sluggish, I know it's easy to grab that bag of popcorn, watch Netflix. However, food is just, again, such a secret weapon that is readily available to anyone, natural resource that you can find anywhere in your own home. So enough of that. Gratitude, okay, as a definition, I'm going to read this out, and then it's literally going to be a quick go-to tool. And then if you've got any questions at the end, then you can fire away. You don't have to have any questions, but if you do, then also we can talk about that at the end. But gratitude as a definition, I'm going to read this out. So, research shows that adopting the attitude of gratitude, expressing appreciation, and to be more thankful will measurably improve your overall well-being. Studies prove that gratitude can improve happiness, reduces depression, and strengthens resiliency. Grateful people experience reduced blood pressure, less chronic pain, increased energy, and it's proven that they even enjoy longer lives. People who purposely practice gratitude report higher self-esteem than those who don't, and are more likely to help others. This overall leads to greater happiness. People who capture grateful thoughts before bed sleep better than those who don't. Gratitude changes people's brains, which increases dopamine and serotonin. These feel-good neurotransmitters activate the bliss center of the brain, increasing feelings of happiness and contentment. Research shows that with regular practice, you'll train your prefrontal cortex to better appreciate and retain positive experiences and thoughts, and to deflect the negative ones. So wow, there's just so much research done into gratitude. And I always think, again, it's a practice, and it is quite tricky. I mean, what came into my head earlier, if we were to smile right now, just smile, okay, it's an effort, because you actually use more muscles in your face to smile, and it's so easy to frown, isn't it? If I can frown already, because you're using less muscles. So that's why it is an effort to be grateful. It doesn't come naturally for most people. I mean, some people are naturally grateful, and it probably is a reflection of their experiences growing up, their childhood, and what they've been surrounded by and conditioned to think. However, most people are not. But definitely a practice. So the positives are, it definitely builds connectivity between people. You sleep better, as mentioned, and it lowers those cortisol levels, which decreases the stress in your body. And as mentioned, those neuroscientists have definitely proven and discovered you live longer. So a happier life can be lived a lot longer. So definitely reasons to practice being grateful. And again, that's why Leeds Beckett University, we've had a massive push this week to learn to be grateful. We've been sending out those flyers and cards for us to, really appreciate what's around us. How can you be grateful? So it's not going to take over your life, just a quick, simple tool that we can use. If you were to, let's just see if you can see. So here, I've got 3 boxes, and this is what I do with my son, who's 4. I read to him, he reads to me, and then we now do this because I've done a lot of research for today's workshop. I mean, I came across being grateful and practicing gratitude when I was depressed a few years ago, but I just dropped it. So yeah, now again, my lifestyle has slowed down like everyone else's, the majority anyway. I'm definitely now going to implement this back into my life because I've done loads of research. But just talk about or write down 3 things that you're grateful for. And if you're stuck and you don't know exactly what to be grateful for, then a suggestion is, well, who are the people in your life that you can be grateful for? What are the places that you have in your life that you visit that you can be grateful for? Or what are the things that you're grateful for? So what usually comes up for me, and actually just write 3 for 3 things. You can either do 3 things altogether, or maybe do 3 things under people, places, or things. It's up to you. There's no hard and fast rule when it comes to this as a practical tool. But I'm usually grateful for my son every day. This is like on a daily thing. I try to change it up a bit. But yeah, definitely grateful for my son. Loving my 2 cats. I brought them back from China, and they've been through so much with me over the last 9-10 years. And I'm always forever grateful for them sitting on my lap and purring at me in the evenings, which is lovely. And then I might be grateful for an experience I've had with maybe Oscar in the garden, or the fact that I could get out and run, or something so small, or the beautiful sunshine. We've been absolutely blessed with lovely weather, haven't we, the last few days? So these are the sorts of things that you can be grateful for, just to give examples. So and then if you want to accelerate your tool, your gratitude tool, then you can actually try expressing being grateful towards someone. Again, people are not everyone, but some people are not very good at giving compliments, or good at offering positive feedback. But it can be like such a small thing, like, thanks dear for helping with the washing or doing the dishes, or thank you for taking the rubbish out. And just that gratitude that you're giving to someone else. Apparently, again, it's all in the science. If you go on YouTube, there's so many scientific videos by the neuroscientists, and it demonstrates and actually proves that people that practice this and deliver their gratitude, they're happy themselves, and they also make other people happy. It's a bit of a knock-on effect. So practice being grateful, towards someone. And if you want to enhance it even more, after you've just maybe given someone a nice compliment, or you've showed your your gratitude in whatever way. You could actually write down, how did you feel after you spoke of your gratitude towards something or someone? And apparently there's a test that's been done over that, and apparently that increases even more that person's happiness, because they're witnessing or acknowledging their happiness and their gratitude for that person. And again, it's just like a snowball effect. So basically there's just so many positives to being grateful, and practicing the attitude of gratitude. So, and that brings me to the end of the workshop. I mean, these workshops fly, they really do. So there was a lot going on there, but yeah, just a quick sort of tool when it comes to gratitude. Just 3 things every night before bed. Maybe not watch the news before you go to bed. Maybe just sit there for 5 minutes and just really pick up on what made you smile in the day, what made you happy, what lit your face up. So okay, I really do appreciate you sticking around today. And again, hi, if you're watching the recorded version. I'm just going to unmute everyone. You don't have to have a question, but if you do, awesome. This is our time to maybe do a quick Q&A. But yeah, here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Unmute all. Hello.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for the wonderful session.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much for sitting in. I've actually just changed my screen and I just see there's a few people now listening, which is great. So yeah, thank you. Have you got any questions at all?
No, thanks a lot. I'm very grateful to you.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, again, you don't have to have any questions, but if you did, this is our opportunity. But yeah, I just want to wish everyone well. I hope you're safe, and I'm sure some of you already have been doing those awesome classes on Leeds Beckett University's schedule. So, but yeah, keep going, keep being strong, being safe, and hopefully we're going to see the end of this very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.